Here we have a triangle ABC. What we need to find is the value of this angle A. Now, what is the information given? Angle A is divided into 4 equal parts by these 3 lines. Now, let me name all those 4 equal parts as alpha. So now, what is angle A? It is 4 alpha. Now all we have to do is find the value for this alpha. Let us start by finding what angle B and angle C are. For that, let us examine these 3 lines. Let me start with AD. What is AD? It is the altitude, which means it connects A to the opposite side BC perpendicularly. So now look at the triangle BAD. How many angles do you know? Here we know that angle BDA is 90 degrees, and then we know that now you're just concentrating on this one line. Let us forget about the others. Now the other angle BAD is what? It is alpha. So the third angle, which is what? ABD, or in other words, this angle B here, what is it? The sum of angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So this third angle is what? It is 180 degrees minus the sum of these two, which means what? It is 90 minus alpha. Now you know what B is, you know what A is, then what is C? Again, the sum of angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So angle C is what? It is 180 minus the sum of these two, which is 90 plus 3 alpha. That means it is 90 minus 3 alpha. So now we have got all the 3 angles. So we have got all the 3 angles. Just to be sure, you can add all of them and make sure you are getting 180 degrees. Now AD has served its purpose. It has finished its duty. We don't need it anymore. So let me remove it. What is the second one? What is the second line? It is AE. It is the angle bisector. It divides angle A into 2 equal parts. Is that true? If you look at the figure, the line AE divides the angle A into 2 equal parts. You have a 2 alpha here and you have a 2 alpha here. So that is good. Now we don't need AE also. AE is also finished its duty. Now we are stuck with the last and the final line, which is AM. What is AM? It is the median. Now what does a median do? It connects a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side, which means BM and MC are equal to one another. Now if you look at these two triangles separately, you will see that these two sides are equal and it also has a common side AM. So now let us start with triangle BAM. Now what does the sine rule say? The ratio of any two sides is equal to the ratio of the sine of their opposite angles, which means what? BM by AM is equal to the sine values of their opposite angles. BM is here and its opposite angle here is what? It is actually 3 alpha. So sine 3 alpha by AM. What is the angle opposite to AM? It is 90 minus alpha. So it is sine 90 minus alpha. That means this is equal to sine 3 alpha by cos alpha. Why are we getting cos alpha here? We are doing sine A minus B. What is sine A minus B? It is sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. Cos 90 is 0. Sine 90 is 1. That means this whole thing is reduces to just cos alpha. Even without applying the sine A plus B, we know that when the sum of two angles is 90 degrees, then the cos of one will be the sine of another and the sine of one angle will be the cos of another. Not just for sine and cos, you will see the same one for tan and cot and the same thing for sec and cosec also. These two will be same. when the sum of two angles is 90 degrees, then we can see that this happens, and that is what we notice here, right? Alpha and 90 minus alpha, you can see that the sum of these two angles is 90, so it means that the sine of one is equal to the cos of one. You can go that way, or you can just do sine A plus B. Now similarly, go to the triangle MAC. What do we notice there? MC by AM will be equal to the sine of the angles opposite to them. Opposite to MC, what angle do you have? You have sine alpha. And opposite to AM, which angle do you have in this triangle? Now we are dealing with this triangle. It is going to be sine 90 minus 3 alpha again. Sine A minus B, you will get this whole thing is equal to cos 3 alpha. Now what do you notice? If you look at the LHS of these two equations, you can see that it is one and the same. Why is that? Both the denominators are same and both the numerators are also same, because BM and MC are same. So we saw that for the two equations, the LHS is one and the same. So we have equated the RHS also. And then let us cross multiply it. Now what does this remind you of? The sine and the cos values of the same angles. What does that remind you of? The sine 2a formula. All we have to do is multiply throughout by 2. Then we can apply the sine 2a formula. This becomes sine 6 alpha and this becomes sine 2 alpha. Now when the sine value of two angles are same, then there are two possibilities. One of the two cases is true. The first case, maybe the two angles are one and the same. The second case, the sum of the angles is 180 degrees. Now, if you are wondering how we got this result, please hang in there. Let us first finish this question. What we are saying is that if the sine value of two angles is same, then one of these cases must be true. Which case do you think is true? Look at the first probability, 6 alpha and 2 alpha are same. Do you think it is possible? The only number in this world for which 6 alpha and 2 alpha is same, the only number is what? It has to be 0. Only then 6 alpha and 2 alpha will be same. But then that is not possible, because our alpha is an angle. It is an angle of a triangle. So this case is not going to work. So we are left with the second probability, which is this. So that means 8 alpha is equal to 180 degrees. We don't need 8 alpha. What we need is 4 alpha. Divide throughout by 2. Then you get what? 4 alpha is 90 degrees. So 4 alpha is 90 degrees, which means our angle A here is a right angle. That is the answer that we needed. But then, as I promised, let us come back to this result. Now, this is how the proof of that result looks like. If we have two acute angles A and B whose sine values are same, then this is what happens. So you can see that we have applied a formula here. What does this do? What it does is it takes a difference and changes it into a product. Why is it important? If I say A minus B is equal to 0, you will have no clarity as to what these numbers are. All you can see is that one is the negative of another. It can be any number in this world. It can be any real number, any integer. They just have to be the negative of each other and you will get 0. So there is not much clarity there. But at the same time, if I tell you A into B is 0, what does that mean? One of them has to be 0. Either A has to be 0 or B has to be 0. That is why these formula are very important. What we have done is taken a difference, changed it into a product of two numbers, which is 0, which means what? One of them has to be 0. Now cos 90 is 0, which means this angle can be 90. Similarly, sine 0 is 0, which means this angle can be 0. So these are the two possible cases. That is all for today. Assalamu alaikum.